Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Today is the 23rd of December, and welcome to your first Pilates Matwork class of your 12 Days of Christmas classes. This is going to be a general level session, and it's pretty much suitable for everyone. Obviously, if you've got injuries, you've got to kind of take responsibility for your own workout in a way that you do not work through pain. If anything feels uncomfortable, please stop. If you're joining us for the first time, please take your time. The classes are not going to be very difficult. The idea is that we're going to do a little but every day for 12 days. So I don't really want anyone to feel exhausted and kind of next day feel like, oh no, I don't want to do this again. So this is my first Christmas outfit. That's the look. It's extremely hot and it's slightly uncomfortable, probably totally unsuitable for teaching matwork classes, but I'm going to do my best. Okay, let's just get right into it. So today we're starting with upright position and focusing a little bit on the feet to begin with. So maybe just to get you into it, let's have your arms resting by your sides and just doing a bit of rocking forwards and back. So to start with, I cannot believe I'm doing this again. This is about the 10th take I'm doing, and I'm not going to do it again, but I'm doing a lot of to start with. It just must be one of those things. Okay, so your toes are lifting and your heels are lifting on the other side as you're rocking your body forwards and back over your feet. And at some point, if you could think of actually keeping your toes and your heels down, and now you're just moving forwards and back from your ankles. And finding that balance between front and the back of your body. So maybe feeling a little bit to the front of your thighs as you lean forward. What do you feel kind of kicking in? And what happens when you lean back? And then you're going to bring it back into center, somewhere where you feel between front and the back of your feet. And similarly, going from side to side. So very frequently, I've got to take those glasses off, I'm afraid. That's better. So very frequently, we kind of end up leaning a little bit more to one side of our body than the other. So you'll feel that one of your legs usually gets more tight, one of the calves or the foot hurts. So it's good to once in a while do something like this to see if you can recognize those patterns. And then again, gradually, you're bringing it back to center, finding that right from left. Okay, if you bring one foot forward, think of a very outer edge of your foot. So you're going to start on the very, very tippy toes, and you're going to start, you see what I mean? Start again, the beginning and the start. Must be the start of the new year coming soon. You're just going around and around that one foot. So you really make an effort to find the very, very outer edge. And then in a moment, when we stand the feet next to each other, you're going to feel quite a significant difference between the way one foot connects to the floor and the one that you've just worked. And then reverse direction if you haven't done so already. Good. And then if you bring your feet side by side, even with that a few seconds, you might already be feeling that right foot, in my case, is connecting really well to the floor. And then starting on this side, so you're working not just with your foot, but actually quite a lot into your ankle, a lot into your knee, and a lot into your hip. And in the beginning, it might feel like you're having to almost engage your entire body to do it. But as the mobility of your joints improves, you will be able to gradually start isolating it a little bit more. And then let's reverse. Good. And it might feel a little bit awkward doing it to one side, like you can't really get into the little bits that you were able to possibly do it on the other leg. And then bring it back to center, and again, stand your feet together. Now, if you were to do a bit of that rocking forwards and back, does it feel very different? Yeah, it feels quite different for me. I feel like my feet are really planted into the floor, which is what we definitely want. Okay, and another exercise for your feet this time, just moving from the front. So you're going to lift the toes up, and you're going to spread them out like a fan, and one at a time, starting with your little toe, you're going to lower them down to the floor. You're trying to isolate them as much as possible. And then you lift up again, and see if you can start with the big toe. This is always the harder one. And then lift again and spread them out. And you're starting one little toe at the time, bring them down to the floor and lift. And again, going from the large one. Now that you've created a little bit of engagement through your feet, we're going to go a little bit higher up the legs. So maintaining as good balance as you can. You're going to raise up to your toes and really slowly lower down. You can think of little hooks attached to your heels and the strings pulling up the back of your calves and the back of your thighs, up into the back of your pelvis and the spine. You might find that it might be feeling a little bit easier to do than just focusing on your feet. And then slowly lower down. And then you're going to lift, hold this position. You're going to slowly bend your knees forward, but your upper body is not coming forward. You're going to lower your heels down, pressing your heels into the floor, stretch up. And again, lifting up on your toes. So it takes quite a bit of concentration. And then lower your heels down and stretch the back of your legs. And let's do it a couple more times and lift. So we're kind of going to be focusing today quite a bit on the precision of your movements, as it is the first session, and not doing too many repetitions, but really making an effort to do them as well as possible, she said, and lost balance. And then bit by bit, that's it. Bring your heels down and push back up. Lovely. Now, if you set your feet a little bit wider apart, and all you're going to do is little rotation. So you're going to just send your body from side to side, just like that. Your arms are loosely wrapping around your body. You can keep your head in the center if you're getting dizzy, moving your head with the rest of your body. But for the last one, you're going to rotate and you're going to stay in this position. So your head is going to go and look back over your shoulder. I'm just going to look into the screen so what I'm explaining. Now you're going to be focusing on your left leg. So I'm turned to the right and I'm focusing on my left leg. And you're going to roll that foot out and bring it back in. So I'm looking over my shoulder, over my right shoulder, and I'm rolling my left foot out and back into center. So you're going to feel that movement going all the way up into your hip, possibly a little bit into the back. If you've got any kind of issues with your sacrum and it's kind of scraping and doesn't feel very good, maybe come out of some of that rotation and make it a little bit smaller. And then when you've done roughly 10 or a little bit less, you're now going to focus on your right leg and you're going to roll it in and back and in and back. So you're rolling that right foot in and right foot in. So it's still working the chain of your legs from your feet through the calves, knees, thighs, hips, working all the way into the spine now. And let's do a couple more. Good. And then bring it back to center. And now you're going to wrap yourself around your left shoulder. So now the right foot is rolling out and rolling out. And in the beginning, it might feel like you're feeling it in your foot, but you're not feeling much anywhere else. And that's absolutely fine. Be patient with yourself. It might be that it's a little bit jammed somewhere, especially in the hip. Again, if it makes you feel at all uncomfortable in your lower back, please just make a bit less rotation and roll. Good, and then rolling to the inside of your left foot. And so this leg should now feel a lot more comfortable. And roll it in, good. And then gradually bring it back to center, bring yourself back in and just walk in place. And then loosely stand your feet about hip width apart and look over your right shoulder and then over your left shoulder. Does it feel a lot more comfortable to actually turn from side to side? It's quite magical. Okay, from the same position, let's just roll the spine down a couple of times. So you're going to soften your chin to your chest and bit by bit, start rolling your spine down. Hopefully I'm not going to lose my hat here. Take it into your lowest comfortable point and just hang in there for a second. Take a nice deep breath into the back of your ribs. And on exhale, soften your spine even further down towards the floor. And then start pulling up. Restacking your spine back over your pelvis. And let's do it at least one more time. Soften your head forward. So because I'm using headphones and they are very close to my outfit, so you're going to hear all sorts of noisy scrunching coming from the actual polyester sharing on itself. So I apologize for that. And let's just go into one more roll down. This time, hang in there in that position. You're going to grab hold of your elbows. You're going to soften your knees as you take a breath in. And on exhale, your upper body is sinking down into the floor and you're stretching into the back of your legs. And again, bend your knees. And exhale, stretch into the back of your legs. You can do a little bit of shake through your head. So you're going to shake your head for yes and shake your head for no. I'm not going to do it because then for sure my hat is going to fall off. But you feel free to just release any tension you might be holding in your shoulders, in your neck. And then you're going to stretch those legs and drop your arms down to the floor. And you're going to bend your right knee. You're going to place your right hand on your left foot. And slowly, you're going to there it goes. Unroll your left arm to the floor, to the ceiling. And then you're going to bring it down and switch sides and rotate. Open your arm to the ceiling. Roll it back down. And switch for one more on each side. Good. Lovely stretch in the legs, but also in the pelvis and the spine. And then bring your arm down, collect your Santa's hat, and bit by bit, roll your spine back up over your pelvis. Lovely. Now, just maybe one more standing exercise before we're going to go down to the floor. Having your feet a bit wider than hip width apart, you're going to cross your foot behind you and you're going to touch the floor. And then you're going to push from that foot out to the side and over to the other side. And lift and cross. So you're kind of bending your knees, almost touching the floor with your bottom knee. And then lift and over to the other side. And push. Good. Push from that back leg to help you lift and change. Good. And change. Change. Just getting a little bit of energy going through your body. And change. Good. One more to each side. Good. Bring it back to center. Then I'm going to turn this side so you can see me clearly. A similar one, But going forward, you're going to bend both knees, touch the floor, and push back into place. And bend, touch the floor, push from the front leg this time to come back to center. And push, push. Right, so you should be feeling quite a lot of work happening in that front leg at the back. And push. Oh, nice stuff to do while you're wearing a polyester. And push. Getting really warm in here. Very Christmassy. And push. Good. One more on the other side. And push back. Fabulous. Okay, let's come down to the floor. Good. Finding your comfortable position. Let's open your arms out to each side. Your feet are going to be together and close to the back of your thighs. Let's just drop the legs from side to side. So you should all be quite familiar with that sort of movement. Good, pulling everything back in from your center. And just noticing if you're feeling kind of any stretch to the side of your hips, the side of your spine. One more to the other side. Back into center, set your feet mat width apart. So the first one is a little bit more for the spine. This one is for the front of your thighs and hips. So your feet are set mat width apart. And you're going to be thinking of the movement happening from your knees rather than your spine. And over to the other side now. As my left knee goes down to the floor, I'm thinking of my left foot slightly pushing away. So that kind of increases the lengthening to the front of the thigh. I'm getting choked by my outfit. And over to the other side. Very good. And then we're going to take it a little bit further up the spine. So you're going to lie down with one leg straight, one knee bent. Maybe 5 little single hip rolls to start with, just to get the rest of the spine ready for this. So you're pushing away, your knee is going to stay over your toes. You're going to be opening to the front of this hip, engaging the back of the thigh, getting a lovely rotation going through the rest of the spine. And then change legs. And again, pushing down through your foot, keep the knee over your toes. And just notice if there's any difference in rotation from side to side. There usually is. Good, taking nice breaths. It always helps to use your breath to help the body release from tension. And the last one. Now let's change your legs back into the first one. So the same sort of position, you're going to let that knee drop to the side. Now you're going to engage from the center to lift this long leg slightly off the floor and gradually circle it over the knee. Have your foot flexed. And then bring it back into center. Control the descent of your leg to the floor. Bring your knee back in and change legs. So first you're going to drop the knee to the side, keep that opposite hip stable. Use your center to lift this leg a few centimeters off. Flex your foot as you're traveling around. And then bring it back. Back into center. Let's do one more on each side. And the leg, stabilize the hip, circle it around. And it might be that on one side it feels nice and comfortable, and the other side feels tight and totally different. And that's completely normal. Very good. And then bring it back into center. Okay, if you come back into the original position, so you're going to have your, let's say, left knee bent and the right leg straight. You're going to now bring your foot up towards the ceiling, and you're going to lower it over the knee this way and bring it back to center. Good. And lower it down. In the meantime, the opposite arm and the shoulder are resting down on the floor. And bring it down. Good. So every time I'm keeping my foot flexed to kind of increase a little bit of that stretch, but every time I'm lowering the leg, I'm feeling a little bit more of a stretch and a pull from the hip and my waist. And then bring it back in. And you're going to switch legs. Let that knee drop. Lift this one up. Keep that opposite shoulder on the floor. Have your foot flexed. And lower it down. You can turn your head in opposite direction if that's where your head wants to go. That feels quite good. And a couple more. And the last one. Lovely. Okay, let's bring it back in. Just going to adjust. Good. Your arms are still out to the side. You're going to bring your knees in a tabletop position and just kind of bring them a little bit closer into your chest. You're going to put one hand on each knee, and you're going to take a breath in and move your knees away from you. And then as you exhale, tighten them in towards your chest. And take a breath in, and exhale, tighten. And take a breath in, feeling a bit of a stretch into your back, possibly into the back of your thighs. And then you're going to lead your knees away from you and around. And send them away. And reverse. Lovely. And then keeping your knees still in the tabletop position, not too far forward. It's better to have your knees on this side of the hips rather than the other side. Your arms are going out to the side. So this is the first time you're doing it. You could just do this with your knees down on the floor. So a little bit of what we've done to start with. Anyway, and then if you feel comfortable, you're going to bring your knees in the tabletop position and similarly send your legs to one side. You only go as far as your opposite shoulder is able to stay down on the floor. Very much about working from your center, which you completely cannot see because I'm covered by this lovely outfit. And pull it into center. So I'm kind of trusting that most of you actually know how to do this. And pull it back in. If you feel that you want to do a little bit more, you can flex your feet or have them pointed, ideally flexed, because you're getting that lovely stretch going into the back of the legs. And you're going to send your legs off to one side, pulling in through the obliques, back to center. Over to the other side, and pull it in. And again. And then from the same position, you're going to send just the one leg out to the side while this one is reaching up towards the ceiling. You can point your toes, bring the other one in, so your inner thighs are kicking in, over to the other side. And pull the leg back in and send it over. Now draw it in. Very good. Lots of work from the center, inner thighs. And bring it back in. Lovely. Okay, let's lower the feet down to the floor. Time for outfit adjustment. In this position, just a couple of times, let's get you to tilt your pelvis forward and back, just in case your lower back got a little bit of tightness during the hip rolls and the open leg rocker. Then you're going to scoop your pelvis, push through your feet, and lift up into a small bridge. And then bit by bit, lower your spine down. And then you're going to do the same. Push down through your feet, keep your feet fully connected to the ground, lift into your bridge, and lower your spine down. We're going to keep adding different variations. So if you scoop the spine up first, draw your knees together, roll your spine down, keep squeezing your knees, and then pelvis comes down, you open them again. And lift through the feet, draw your knees together, and bit by bit, lower your spine down and open up. And this time you're going to lift and hold. Now, again, I'm not sure how much of that you're going to see. You're going to drop this one hip down, push through that foot to lift, over to the other side. So you're actually going into that lovely rotation in your lower back and a little bit up towards the thoracic spine. But you're also activating the back of that thigh. So when you release that hip down, it all kind of goes a bit soft. But as you push your foot down, feel it engage to lift the hip. And push to lift and lower. Push to lift. Good. And again, and one more to each side. And then you're going to lift and bit by bit, lower your spine down. Okay, so now we've got this all fired up and keen. Let's see if we can make this a little bit more difficult. So you're going to lift your pelvis up. You're going to press quite hard down into your right foot so you can lift your left leg without dropping your pelvis. So that's why we did those little side to side, and then bring both sides of your pelvis down at the same time and lower your foot down. And again, lift into your bridge, press through your left foot, bring your right knee in a tabletop position, lower your spine down, but really feel the two sides of your pelvis come down at the same time. And lift up, bit by bit, lower down, bring it down, and lift up, and peeling the spine down. Now we're going to reverse. So you're first going to lift your left foot up, and now you're going to lift your pelvis, press your foot down into the ground, lift it a little bit higher, and then bit by bit, lower your spine down. Lift your right foot a few centimeters off the floor, push from the left leg to lift your pelvis up, put your right foot on the floor, push in to lift your pelvis higher, and then bit by bit, lower your spine down. Okay, let's do one more on each side. So left foot up, push into the right leg, place it down, push to lift higher, and then bit by bit, roll it down, lift your right foot, push from the left to lift. So you can pretty much feel any kind of, strength differences that you might have, and then start rolling it down. Perfect. From this position, let's just get you to cross your left leg over the right knee, and you're going to just send it from side to side. If you bring your foot a bit closer to the back of your thighs, you'll probably feel a bit more secure. Just to release the pelvis from what we've just done. And then back to center, change legs. Just getting a bit of a glute mobilization. Perfect. And back to center. Okay, so from the same position you're in right now, you're going to fix your hat if it fell down, and you're going to place your hands behind your head. So your elbows are nicely wrapped around your ears. Let's take a breath in, and on exhale, feel your breastbone softening down as you bring your spine forward. And then gently pulling on the back of your neck, you're releasing it back down. And exhale, bring your spine forward. And then softly, kind of gently using your hands to just traction out your neck, just to open it up a little bit. Now, if you bring your left leg in towards you, as you bring your spine forward, hold it there. You're going to send that leg straight, bring it back in towards you, bring your spine a bit further forward, and then release down. Over to the other side. Bring your leg in, hold, send it forward, draw it back, and release. And forward, and release. And bring it in, and hold, and release. As you bring the spine forward, you're going to send that leg straight, and I can't see a thing. And you're going to bring it into center for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring it in to meet your upper body and release. And as you bring your spine forward, you're going to reach that leg straight. Your foot is flexed, and you're going to bring it into center for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw it back in towards you and release it away. Good. Let's do it one more time on each side. Going forward and bringing it in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw it towards you. Release it down. So you should be really feeling it in your center, and send it out. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it towards you and release it away. Excellent. Okay, so your arms are opened out to each side, and I want you to think of bringing your left hand in towards your chest. You're going to slide it across. You're going to lift your head up, and you're going to carry on until you bring your left hand on top of your right. You're going to slide it back into place, open it wide, bring your right hand towards your chest, lift your head, and slide it all the way. And back in your legs, your pelvis is going to move a bit, but try not to go with your legs. So you're going to keep your knees pointing up towards the ceiling, but there's some flexibility for movement. Good, a fabulous rotation into the upper spine. And just one more to the other side. Good, and then bring it back in, grab your hat. Let's bring your knees into your chest. So you're going to swing your legs back and then bring it forward. You're not quite sitting yet. You're going to roll back one more time, or maybe let's do it a couple more times because it feels quite nicely on the spine. And take your legs back. Nice and slow movement. Good to keep your spine rounded, because otherwise it's going to feel quite uncomfortable on your back. And swing your legs back. Bring it forward. This time you're going to cross your legs in front of you, and you're sitting upright, and you walk your hands ahead. So bit by bit, you're going to take it to your furthest comfortable place. And let's just take a few breaths into the back of the hips. So if you've been sitting, or you've been actually walking quite a lot, this might feel like quite a pleasant stretch. Take a breath into the back of your pelvis and see if you can inch your fingers, your hands a little bit further forward. Just keep top of your shoulders tension free. And with every breath, it might feel like it's just a little bit easier and you can inch your fingers a little bit further forward. And then when you're ready, you're going to pull from the center to reset your spine over your pelvis. Let's get you to change the way you cross your legs. So to start with, and that might feel uncomfortable because we tend to, let me just do it this way actually, because we tend to kind of cross the legs one way more than the other. So you're walking your arms forward, but then you're going to walk them over to the right, and you're going to place your left hand on top of your right. So you're thinking of that hip on the left side, trying to drop into the floor. So if it's not on the floor, just take a few breaths into it and see where you're holding tension, and can you let it go? So tension might be around the hip, the tension might be in the waist even. It just might be because you're sitting in a position that you're not used to. So whatever it is, just take some soft breaths into it and think of letting go. And then you're going to walk your hands to center over to the left side and place your right hand on top of your left. And the same thing. And taking breaths. Letting that right hip drop to the floor. And then let's walk it back into center and restock. And I'm going to sit back in this direction. Outfits. We're not meant to exercise in outfits. Okay, so to start with your knees slightly bent, your hands are at the front of your knees. Just think of rolling your spine back and then gently pushing your hands against your knees, restock your spine tall. And then if you want, you can add a little push against your knees as you're rolling your spine back. Pull your knees as you're restocking your spine up. And then pushing away. And then restocking your spine. And pushing away. And then restocking. And on the next one, you're going to reach your arms in front of you. So going a little bit further down. So maybe going into your lower back and hold it there. Keep your spine rounded, bring it forward. And restock. If your hips are feeling a little bit of tension, and it might be a little bit more comfortable to have your feet a little bit wider apart, by all means, I don't mind whichever position you assume, and then bring it forward and restock. And let's do it one more time. Good, and you're going to hold this position. And you're going to imagine that you've got a plate on your hand and you're going to reach that plate towards people sitting behind you with a smile, and then bring it back in, and then going over to the other side and bring it back in, and again, and back. Keep your spine rounded. I'm not sure if this is really clearly showing in here, but my spine is rounded, not straight. And back. And bring it back to center. Keep it in a C shape until you restock over your hips. Now either carry on with your knees bent, or you're going to stretch your legs in front of you. You can even have your knees bent. That just adds on to the stretch. And you're going to, bit by bit, roll your spine all the way down towards the floor. Hold on to your head. Take your arm back behind you, or arms, and then bring it forward. And you're going to carry on over your toes, but keep your arms in line with your shoulders. Think of that bit of your lower back staying connected to the wall behind you. And then your arms are still reaching forward while your abdominals are pulling your spine back already. And you're starting to roll the spine again. And forget the head. Take your arms back. Bring it forward. keep your legs buried in the sand, and you keep reaching over your toes. At the end there, grab your toes with your hands, and you're going to point and flex, and point and flex. It's not enough you're feeling a stretch at the back of your legs. You might be feeling that quite nice stretch into the back of the shoulders as you're pointing with your toes. So that skin and all that soft tissue is getting pulled, and then release, still reaching forward, but rolling the spine back at the same time. And bring it forward. And again, point and flex, point and flex. Just a couple more times. Just add a whole new dimension to the idea of a spine stretch. This one, and then bring it back in. Excellent. So you're now all opened up and mobilized. You're going to set your feet a little bit wider apart. You're going to open your arms out to each side, and you're going to rotate around the axis of the spine. So don't think about your arms. Think about an idea of how much you're rotating with your spine and your arms just moving with you. And so it might be a little bit of a smaller movement that you think. And over to the other side and back, and keep going. I'm just updating my wardrobe here. Perfect. And over to the other side. And you're going to rotate towards the right side. And you're going to flip your palms up towards the ceiling, and you're going to reach towards the back of the side of your foot. And you're going to bring it up, rotate to the other side, flip your hands up and reach and back, rotate and flip, reach and back, flip and reach again. Good, let's do it one more time on each side. So your palms are flipping upwards and reach. And again, and reach. And bring it back into center. Your legs are going to come a little bit closer together. Now, if you're going to, you can start with bending. I don't know how you can see it best. I think this is going to be the best position. So I want you to bend your left knee, and you're going to use your right hand to grab the outside of that foot. The other hand is just next to you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this heel forward, and I'm being obviously pulled by the stretch happening in my leg. So this hand is now sliding towards this foot, and you're going to rotate back, and you slide the knee back in as you rotate. And again, I'm sliding forward with my leg, circle around, slide the knee in, and slide forward, rotate, slide the knee in at the same time. Now, if you have the flexibility of your hamstrings, you're going to keep the legs straight. And as you're rotating back, the hip is going to just shift slightly back, but the leg is going to remain straight. And when you slide, the left leg is going slightly ahead of the right one, and then behind the right one. Slide forward, and slide back, and slide forward, and slide back. Lovely. And then bring it back into center. Okay, so I'll demonstrate this one from the front, just in case that might be a little bit clearer. So you're going to now grab hold of your right foot with your left hand. The other one is just next to you. So to start with, you're sliding your heel and your leg forward, and you're sliding your arm forward. As you rotate back, you slide that knee back in. And forward. And reaching away. And forward. And reaching away. And then if you can, you're going to challenge yourself to keep that leg straight. You're going to still circle back, but now this foot is just going to goes, this hip is going back slightly, and as you slide your hand forward, it goes ahead of your left foot, and it goes slightly behind, and it goes forward and behind, and forward again, and just one more, and forward, good, and bring it back to center. A lovely little exercise. Okay, let's bring your feet underneath you and get you onto your knees and hands. Okay, that's not too bad. You should be able to see something. Okay, so you're on your knees and hands. On your knees and hands, you always have your knees under your hips and your wrists under your shoulders. If you're having problems with the wrists themselves, you can fold your mat and use it as a little lift. So your fingers are slightly dropped. That kind of just takes some pressure of the extension of your wrist required to stay in that 4-point kneeling position. Otherwise, you're going to come into a normal position, just getting a bit of mobility and a little bit of loading into your wrist. So you're going to bring your body forward and back, and your elbows are going to remain completely straight. So when you're going forward, you're not bending your elbows here because you're feeling tension in your wrist. If that is the case, you're only bringing your shoulders over your wrist or to a point where you can bear the position and not lose the length of your arms. If you have hyper-extended elbows, just readjust them. So you don't want to be somewhere there where the front of the elbows are looking towards in front of you. You want the inside of the elbows to look at each other. So when you're rocking your body forward and back, you're kind of controlling that hyperextension of your elbows. And then you're going to gradually bring it back to center. So it's a little bit of what we've done to start with, standing on your feet. Now I'm rocking from side to side. So when we began, we were standing on our feet and we were just rocking your body forwards and back, loading the front to the back of your feet. And then we did the same from side to side, finding the balance between the right and the left side of our bodies. And this is a little bit of the same. Think of your hips and your knees traveling at the same time. Then you're going to come to center and your knees are about hip width apart. So what I want you to think about is looking over your shoulder, but you're going to bring your hip up to it so you can see. So you're going to like waggling your tail a little bit. And then over to the other side. So you're getting that quite cool stretch into one side of your body. And then over to the other side. And you might find that it's much easier to do it to one side. I mean, however much I'll try, there's no way I'm going to be able to see my pelvis in this outfit, or maybe a little bit to this side. Well, here you go. It seems like I've got a little bit more movement to my left, sorry, to my right, than I do to my left. So it's not just the waist and the spine here, but it's also the neck and the shoulders that play a role in this movement. Good. Now try and work as hard with the lower body as you're working with your neck. So you're not overstretching your neck to do it. You actually need to work harder from the pelvis. Cool. Bring it back into center. So just to move it in a different direction, let's pull the tailbone between your legs, push away from the shins and from your hands to encourage arching of your spine towards the ceiling. No tension around the shoulders. Start from the pelvis, lengthen it away first and lift your breastbone up. There's no collapse into your lower back. You've got to keep that under control. You're going to curl your pelvis under, push from the front of your feet and in your hands just to encourage that bit of arching, and then start to soften away from your pelvis and arch away. And let's do that 2 more times. Curl your pelvis under and push down through the front of your feet and hands and send it away. And let's do it one more time. So you're going to arch towards the ceiling, get as much of that stretch. Now keep that arched position and just do a little bit of rocking forwards and back, but don't lose the arch. This actually takes a little bit more effort than you think, especially in the pelvis as you're rocking back. Good. And then bring it back over your shoulders and just release into a neutral spine. Let's get you to think about balance between your right and the left side of your body, which we've practiced quite a bit today. You're going to start sliding your left leg and your right arm in front of you. And then if you can maintain balance, you're going to take them off the floor and send them away from each other. And then you're going to bring them back in and maybe use the guide of your mat, the width of your mat, kind of like a door frame. So you don't want to be swaying from side to side, from one side of your door frame to the other. You want to stay right bang in the center of it. So you're actually going to have to use quite a bit of your muscle in your waist, but obviously in your shoulders and in your legs to kind of control this position. And let's do it again. Send it away. Good, lengthening your fingers away from your toes and bring it back in. Just add a little bit of ankle mobilization. So you're going to send it away. Let's flex and point with your hand as well. So a little bit of neural flossing. Good. And then bring it back in. It's getting hot. And send it away. And again, flex and point. Keep pushing away from the floor, don't give up. And bring it back, yeah, lovely. From the same position, I'm just going to get you to momentarily sit back into your feet, just in case your wrists are getting a little bit tired. And then you're going to bring it up into 4-point kneeling. And let's just do threading the needle. So you're going to lift that right arm off the floor, slide it underneath the left one, just have a little rest on your head and your shoulder, and then pull back from the center over to the other side, and back from the center. And back in. And I'm going to turn around. Actually, you might want to turn around as well, unless you've got carpet, just so you can make sure that your foot is nicely anchored and it's not slipping on the floor. So you're still with your knees under your hips, but you're going to send one leg out to the side. And this time you're going to slide one hand forward, but it's slightly sitting back at the same time, but it's just enough to get that stretch to the side of your body, and then pull it back in over to the other side, so that inside, the arm on the same side of the leg is going to feel less comfortable. I'm going to do it this way so you can see how much I'm sitting back. So you're going to slide that there, so it's not a huge lean back towards my legs, and then back and over to the other side, but getting that bit of a inner thigh stretch on the other leg. Carry on. I'm just trying to not get completely declothed. Okay, so one more time, sliding that leg arm forward and then back, getting great stretch to the side of your body and inner thigh stretch. Now staying in the same position, already familiar, rocking forward and back, with the intention of sitting down towards that back leg while your arms are still forward. And then bring it forward, so you're pushing from the front of that foot that you're about to sit back on to lift you up, getting those quads working. Push. Right, so I'm not pulling myself with my arms, to come back to 4-point kneeling, I'm actively using my left leg to push up and then control the descent and push it up. And then you're going to go over to the other side. Obviously, if there's any kind of issues with your knees, reduce the range of motion to whatever feels comfortable. Now, when you're going to the other side, so you can see it quite well here, you don't want to be somewhere here. You want to make sure that your hip is staying over your knee as you come into your 4-point kneeling. And then let's start with a little slide forward. And then bring it back in and slide forward and back. One more to each side. Good, and then staying in the same position, just a bit of rocking forwards and back with the intention of sitting back. And push back forward. Perfect. And let's bring your knees back in and under you. You're going to tuck your toes under, bring your hands towards you and push back on your feet. And just doing a little bit of rocking over the ball of your feet. And then you're going to think of sinking slightly back into your heels, just getting a bit of a stretch on the calves. And again, noticing which one is tighter than the other. And then when you're ready, you're going to stretch your legs up, drop your heels down. Taking a nice deep breath, let go of your head. Do a little bit of that, nodding for yes, nodding for no. Releasing the neck, releasing the head. When you're ready, you're starting to pull the belly up, connecting into the back with your legs to restock your spine straight. On the top, you're going to cross your arms, take a nice deep breath. And you're going to soften your head forward and start rolling back down again. And pull back from the center. Cross your arms in front of you. Take a deep breath into the front of your chest. And release it away. Lovely. Now from the same position, standing comfortably, what I want you to think about is dropping this arm heavily. Imagine that you've got a weight in this arm. You're going to put your hand just to the side of your head. You're not going to be really pulling on it. You're sort of just using the weight of your arm to apply a gentle stretch to the side of your neck. Now, if your shoulder is coming up towards you, obviously, you kind of got to be thinking of letting it go. Otherwise, you're probably not getting much of a stretch. So keep having that feel that this arm is weighing down towards the floor. Now you're going to put your hand slightly to the back of the head so you can turn it in, and now you'll be getting some stretch into the side back of the neck. Please don't pull on it. Just let the gravity and the weight of your arm do the job. And then bring it back to center and back in. And then you're going to put your hand, and again, you might feel that, whichever side is a little bit more comfortable doing it, it's probably going to give you a little bit more left length and opening. And just breathing into it, feeling the muscles melting away. So you kind of think of the space between your ears and your shoulders melting and opening up. Put your hand slightly to the back of your head and turn it in under the armpit so you can stretch the back of that neck now. Don't pull. Good, and then bring it back into center. And then you're going to, I'm doing it sideways so you can see what's happening. I'm just going to go for a little chin nod. Just feeling the weight of your head to drop to the front of your chest, but not the spine. And then you're going to roll it up. So you're thinking from the bottom of the neck, bit by bit, you're rolling the spine up and bring your head right on top of your spine. Now you've got to keep your spine elongated while you're thinking of the very, very top vertebrae, right where the neck meets the head. This is where you're going to nod your chin back. Keep your mouth closed. So you might be feeling quite a bit of a stretch to the front of your neck. And then bring it back into center. And then you're going to put your hands onto the side, just under the collarbone, and you slightly trap it and just move your head. So I'm kind of pulling down with my fingers, sending my head out to the side. So you're getting that bit of a stretch on the platysma on this side. Keeping your neck young. Over to the other side. And then bring it to the front of your chest and very gently lean your head back, but don't lose it behind you. Excellent. And then release everything. Let's just roll down one more time. Good, and just shake your head from side to side. Oh, my head is not falling off anymore. Good, another deep breath into the back of your ribs and restack your spine back up to center. Excellent. Well, you're ready for your first day of Christmas. If you're celebrating Christmas Eve, then have a fabulous celebration. Enjoy your family, and I shall see you tomorrow for your second day of Pilates Matwork, 12 days of Christmas. Thank you very much. See you soon. Take care.